Right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to this ReferralCandy webinar. Today with us is Colton from CartStack. He's here on my right. You can see him. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to be talking about how to attract lost customers and how you can not only convert them, but turn them into your brand ambassadors, how to turn them into your sales force, pretty much. So before we dive in, I would like to thank Colton for being here today. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm excited. Thanks for the invitation. I think we've been working on this for a while now. I think we've got a really good presentation for everyone. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, we've actually been working on this for a while. So yeah, we have a lot of content to share, I think, and we're gonna cover a lot of different things from the sales funnel, from the moment that someone lands on your website and how you can convert them into customers, but also how you can say, hey, if you like the product, if you like the customer experience, here's how you can benefit from future perks, or how you can become a more loyal customer, how to make sure that those customers love you. So yeah, I think we have a lot of stuff prepared today. So let's just dive in. I'm gonna turn off my camera and turn on my computer so you can see my screen. Okay, let me know when you can see it.
Gotcha.
All right, can you see it?
Yep, looks good.
All right, cool. So yeah, like I said, we're gonna be talking about how to attract lost customers and how to turn them into brand ambassadors. Just a brief introduction about myself. So my name is Raul. I'm the partner manager here at ReferralCandy. And again, with me today is Colton Bradshaw, who's the marketing manager at CartStack. And I would like to welcome him again. And I would love if you could give a few words about yourself and your background, and also what CartStack does, although you'll be talking about this later on in the webinar. But it will be great for our listeners to get to know you more and the company that you work for.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thanks for having me. I'm really, really excited about this. I have been with CartStack for a little over a year now. My background has always been in design and digital marketing, and specifically design for conversion. What helps what convert better? And so naturally, I came to work for CartStack, and really, we've just been developing a lot of this content to help people understand how to recover lost sales online, which I'm really excited to share with you guys today.
It's such a crucial topic, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's something that e-commerce store owners are facing every single day.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest complaints you hear about running an e-commerce store is the cart abandonment. I can't get my cart abandonment rate down. I can't get, which translates into getting your conversion rate up. So I'm excited to be able to talk about some ways that we can, some ways that you can recover these sales after people leave your site, and based off of their intent to purchase and what type of customers they are and how to segment them properly. We got some good stuff.
Sounds good. So just some quick notes before we dive into the content that we have prepared. So this is going to take about 60 minutes. There will be some giveaways at the end of the webinar. So if you're thinking about setting up a car abandonment recovery strategy, CartStack is giving away a very interesting deal. So if you'd like to get started with CartStack, you can do it at the end of the webinar and take advantage of this deal. If you're thinking about setting up a referral program, there will also be some interesting deal for you guys as well on ReferralCandy if you'd like to get that started as well. And if you have any follow-up questions after the webinar, we're giving our email addresses, our personal email addresses, so you can write us and ask as many questions as you have about what we are discussing today. And these are the topics, and these are the areas that we're going to be covering today during the webinar. So during the first part, we're going to talk about how to reduce site abandonment and how to recover lost customers, and that's what Colton's going to be talking about. And then for the second half, I'll be talking about how you can turn those customers into advocates, how you can turn those customers into basically your brand ambassadors. Okay. All right. So let's start with the part one, which is understanding the flows and flaws of your website. And Colton, they're all yours.
Yeah, so let me turn my screen sharing here on real quick. 1 second. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right, so yeah, before we get into how to actually recover customers, I think it's important we understand the typical flow that shoppers follow when visiting your site and how that relates to the customer journey, because they're really closely related. And the reason we're looking at the customer journey is because it's important to understand the way that customers interact with your site and how that relates to each step of the journey. Understanding this is what's going to help you segment your customers into groups and align your messaging accordingly so that you can maximize the amount of revenue you recover from each type of shopper that abandons your site. And one thing I want to point out real quick, and I think Raul touched on this for a second, but how unique this webinar is going to be today. We, as business owners, I think, can tend to get so caught up in focusing on customer acquisition that we forget the fact that 20% of our existing customers can be responsible for up to 80% of future sales. So we're really pumped to be able to cover all aspects of this customer journey in this webinar. Well, I'll show you kind of how to acquire the customers, and Raul will cover how to turn them into brand ambassadors so you can acquire even more customers, basically. So as you can see, we've got the customer journey here bumped right up next to the typical e-commerce checkout flow. And the reason we've done this is to show you how, as your customers make their way through your site, it's generally safe to assume that at different pages, levels, and depths of your site, your shoppers are at different points of the customer journey. It's important to understand this because much like any marketing campaign, you're not going to use the same language, tactics, and strategies to convert shoppers into customers when they're at different levels of the journey. So once customers have made their way through these home, category, and product pages, it's usually safe to assume that they're in this awareness phase of the journey. They're just getting to know you at this point. And then as they add something to the cart or begin to check out, they move into this consideration stage. And then obviously into the acquisition stage. So we all know that acquisition is the goal, right? Like this is what we're trying to get to. But in order to get customers to that stage, we're going to have to focus on these first two groups, shoppers in the awareness and consideration stages. And here's the thing, shoppers in each of these stages have a different level of intent to purchase from you generally. It's typically safe to assume that visitors in the awareness stage of the journey have a lower intent to purchase, and those in the consideration stage have a much higher intent to purchase. So we're going to break down the way we remarket to these customers based on their intent to purchase. And one thing that's important to keep in mind is that customers can go through this journey at a really slow pace or really rapidly, and it's a good idea to have it's good to have an idea of your buy cycle or the time it takes your customers to get from awareness to acquisition to understand how to build these campaigns accordingly. First things first, though, having an optimized checkout flow is going to really impact your ability to recover lost sales. And that's because you're going to capture a lot of emails that you'll use to recover these sales on the cart and checkout pages of your website. So you need to be able to have these optimized to at least get shoppers to start their transaction before they abandon, which most will do with the right checkout flow. So it said that about 98% of shoppers are going to have the same billing and shipping address. So having to enter these separately is a pain for online shoppers, which brings us to flaw number one, having to input shipping and billing addresses separately. A good fix for this is to use smart forms, one-page checkout plugins, and things like that to auto-populate shipping fields with billing information, kind of like they do right here with this little box that says ship to same address. They know that 98% of the time that's going to be the same address, and then if something gets messed up, we'll figure it out later, but they've got that sale, right? So flaw number two, forcing users to register for an account before making a purchase. A really easy fix for this is just to ask for a registration after the sale. A lot of cart abandonment happens for this reason if you're forcing your users to register for an account. So I really like what this company does right here. They say, thank you for your order, Susan. And then over here on the right, it says, save your details and get 10% off your next order. So they're not only incentivizing you to create an account by giving you a discount to do it, they're also incentivizing you to come back to the site and spend money because you now have a discount code. Really good tactic here. Flaw number three, CTAs don't stand out or aren't easily distinguishable. There are so many green buttons on this page, my eyes just don't know where to go. So the fix would be to A/B split test the elements on your page and figure out what works best to get your shoppers through the checkout line. As you can see here, Apple has obviously figured a few things out. They have just one big blue checkout button that leads you right through the checkout process. Easy and done. No confusion whatsoever. Flaw number 4. Checkout page doesn't seem secure or isn't secure. I mean, so the obvious fix for this one is just to secure your checkout page. But it's also important to reassure your customers that the page is secure, like Nordstrom does here. They just have that big, bold, secure checkout. You know, your customers aren't always going to be looking for that HTTPS in the address bar. So putting secure checkout in big, bold letters will often give them the confidence they need to complete their purchase. Number 5, including your full site navigation on the checkout page, right? You're only tempting your shoppers away from the cart page when you do this. So the fix would be to remove your navigation on the cart and checkout pages to guide your shoppers through the transaction without any distraction or temptation, right? Kind of like Nike does here. No navigation at the top of the page, big orange button to lead you through the checkout process. Flaw number 6, not giving shoppers easy access to cart items while browsing your site and or checking out. Just allow them a way to view and edit cart contents without leaving the page they're on. See this little drop down here. If this person was looking at this bag and wondering, I wonder how much I've got in my cart already, can I afford this? It's really easy for them to check that and add it to the cart right there without having to leave the page and then come back. Because for every step you add into the process, you're only getting closer to having that person abandon that cart. So this just eliminates a few steps, a little bit of the barrier to entry. And I'm going to be sending out this 15 checkout flaws ebook. It just has a few more of these for you to go through and just kind of make sure your site is up to snuff and not hitting on any of these no-nos, you know. But now we're going to get into the good stuff, how to recover high intent customers with email. So as you'll remember, these customers are in the consideration stage, and they are high intent customers because by adding something to the cart, they've shown you, 1, they like what you have, and 2, they at least have some desire to own it. So we're going to recover these shoppers with a cart abandonment email campaign. And I know that most of us are probably running one of these campaigns right now, but what we're going to do is do a deep dive into each of the emails in your sequence to discuss what to do and why to maximize your conversion for each email. And one thing I want to note really quickly, and this is going to be one of the most important parts of recovering sales online, and it applies to both high and low intent customers, the success of your entire campaign hinges on your ability to collect emails. So 1, you want to use the emails you capture from your entire site for your cart and browse abandonment campaigns, and I'll show you some examples of that in a second. And 2, make it incredibly easy to sign up. So you can use the emails you capture from exit intent pop-ups, contact forms, live chat, newsletter signups, contests and giveaways, things like that for your cart abandonment campaigns to recover as much revenue as you can. And I'm going to send out another ebook after this also, is just how to capture more email addresses and get more conversions. It's some of our favorite tactics to help you capture email addresses for your cart abandonment campaigns. And so it said that about 74% of shoppers that add an item to their cart will abandon the cart before completing their purchase. And here are some of the top reasons they abandon: confusing checkout, navigation issues, forced to register prior to purchase, not a wide selection of payment options. All these things, some of these things we talked about in our checkout flaws. But out of all of these things, some of them you're going to be able to address through site optimization, right? Fixing your navigation, fixing broken links, doing all of these things to make it easier for your shoppers to convert while they're on the site. Some of these you're going to be able to address with an abandoned cart campaign, because expensive shipping, having questions about your product, getting distracted, your shoppers not being ready to buy, these are all things that can be addressed in an email follow-up, right? So what we're going to do is dive into a real 3 email cart abandonment sequence and break it down piece by piece to show you what things you should focus on in each email and why. So just jumping right into it here, email number 1. Number 1. So I put a 1 here, but really what I want to call to attention to is the timeliness of this email, because emails sent out within the first 20 minutes after the user abandons a cart are 3 times more likely to be opened. So if sent quick, your open rate should be around that 30 to 60% mark. And I'll kind of go over why that's cool in a minute. 2, using a support tone rather than a sales tone in your first follow-up email can reassure your shoppers that you've got their best interest at heart, thus building rapport and encouraging re-engagement with your brand, which is the goal. Number 3, personalize it. Call them by name if you can. If you capture more data during the customer's checkout process than just email address, you can use this data to dial in your personalization a little bit more to boost open rates and click-through rates. Number 4, including cart items and info. Remind your prospects which items that were in their cart when they abandoned your site. One thing to note is that it's not always the best idea to include price in your emails. If you do want to display the product prices or cart total, I'd recommend doing so as a split test first to determine what has the biggest effect on conversion rate. And then, like I said, 20 to 30 minutes after the shopper abandons the cart to really maximize your open and click-through rates. They're going to really be opening the emails and clicking on links the closer that they receive the email to when the abandonment actually happened. And so these support-based subject lines are kind of what we found to produce the best results with your first cart abandonment email. And we're going to be sending this presentation to you guys afterwards, so you guys feel free to take these, rip them off, use them in your own campaigns. That's what they're for. But this is just what we found to have the best results. Okay, so on to email number 2. First rule, don't be pushy. Overly pushy sales copy can upset your abandoners and ensure they won't be back to complete the purchase ever. And then number 2, add some scarcity. So hinting at low inventory levels frames the offer in a way that tells the consumer if they don't finish the purchase now, they may never get the chance to. So what this email says is, were you still interested in picking up a new pair of boots? Our stock is a little low on some of the items that were in your cart, so we wanted to give you a chance to grab a pair before they're gone. Just subtly hints at, hey, some of this stuff might not be here forever, so you should go ahead and come back and buy it before it's gone, right? And just an example of why this works so well, this is a study done by Science Magazine a few years back, and basically a group of participants were given $50 and 2 options. And what I want you to pay attention to is this word right here, keep. They were given $50 and 2 options. They could either keep $30 or gamble the entire 50 with a chance at losing it all or doubling it, right? And so when presented with the option to keep 30, 57% chose to do that. Second group of people were given the same 2 options, but they framed it a little bit differently. Everybody was given $50 and told if they could either lose $20 or gamble 50. And so losing $20 of 50 and keeping $30 of 50, that's the exact same thing. But when framed in a loss mindset, when framed as they're going to lose $20, about 20% more people went over to gamble that $50. So that's just an example of how well scarcity can work in these situations. So number 3, incentivize your shoppers. 56% of online shoppers claim unexpected shipping costs as a reason they've abandoned a cart. So offering free shipping is a really good way to combat that objection, or at least a discount on shipping, right? And then including contact info. So sometimes your shoppers aren't purchasing because they have questions about your products. So rather than leaving it to them to go Google and try to find the answers to themselves, give them a way to get in touch with you by directly by including a phone number and or email address. And please, please, please do not use a do not reply email address. It really doesn't make sense to say, hey, we're here to help, but you better not reply to this email. Like that's, just give them an email they can reply to. It'll just help you get better results. 1 to 2 days after the abandoned cart is the best time for this email to go out. And then on to email number 3. So I call this the best loss aversion tool. And if you have the ability to do this, you should connect to your software's API, whatever your cart abandonment software, connect to the API to import inventory information so that you can do it something like this little left in stock right here and just show people, hey, if you don't purchase this now, you're seriously not going to be able to soon. This is a really good way to implement some real-time dynamic scarcity into it and get people pulling the trigger a little sooner. Coupons and discounts. If a customer has changed their mind about purchasing from you, a discount code or coupon code could be the thing that gets them to change it back, right? Recommending products. So, by your 3rd email, sometimes it's safe to assume that your customers lost interest in the products they were originally looking at. So this is a good opportunity to get them interested in a new or similar product instead, right? So, and then number 4, letting them unsubscribe. Sending abandonment emails to a customer that doesn't want them is a clear-cut way to make sure they never come back to your site at all. So if you don't give them a way to unsubscribe, you're just going to end up making some people really mad. And the best timing for this email, 2 to 5 days after. Like I said, test it, figure out what works best for your customers. And then some subject lines with a little bit more urgency built in for that second, third emails. Those second, third emails, again, feel free to rip these off, use them in your own campaigns. This is just what we found to work the best. And then as far as measuring success goes, so like one thing to note is that because cart abandonment campaigns are so timely, relevant, and personalized, these campaigns typically crush the metrics you find in typical marketing blasts. So you're going to get open rates in the 30 to 60% range, whereas I think typical marketing blasts are 10 to 15%. Click-through rates 12 to 25, conversion rate 15% plus. That's your conversion rate. That's what you should be able to convert back to sale. Like out of all your abandoned carts, you should be able to get 15% to convert back to sale. And then unsubscribes, as long as you're under 2%, you're doing it right. So now we're going to reach up a little higher into the funnel and talk about customers that don't make it to the cart. As you'll remember, our low intent customers are these people who browse around home category product pages but didn't go anywhere else. And the fact is, every customer that was a high intent customer was also a low intent customer at some point. So to push these customers further through the checkout funnel, you're going to want to use a browse abandonment email campaign to turn window shoppers into actual shoppers and then into customers. So according to Baymard Institute, national average add to cart rates sit around 8%, which means 92% of your shoppers never even make it to the shopping cart, about. And the reasons they don't make it to the cart are infinite. I mean, there's just no end to the number of reasons someone might not make it to the cart. So for that reason, the main goal of your browse abandonment campaigns needs to be re-engagement. And to get them re-engaged, you'll want to try and test plenty of tactics to see what resonates best with your audience to convert low intent customers to high intent customers. So basically what we're gonna do now is just go through some browse abandonment email tips and tactics. Just some of our favorite tactics that we've found successful in browse abandonment campaigns to get customers re-engaged. So just starting it off, using product and category information. So show what they most recently viewed. Don't show too much. So if they viewed 50 things while on your website, you don't want to send them an email saying, hey, here are all 50 things you viewed while on my website. No, you want to show them the most recent. And then since these shoppers don't have quite as high of an intent to purchase as cart abandoners, reminding them of different options, colors, size, quantity, and any other pertinent information will often be the thing that gets them back to your site to continue shopping. Okay, give them a reason to return. Discount codes don't only work for cart abandoners. Using coupon codes and discount codes can be especially effective with browse abandonment emails, since much of the time, price was the reason your shoppers didn't add anything to the cart in the first place, right? So discount codes, free shipping, buy one, get one offers, contests are all really good ways to get people back over to your site. Special financing options. So if you offer any kind of finance, like special financing options, your shoppers would have most likely needed to make it to the shopping cart or checkout page to see those, right? So look at what Seeding Mind does here. They use a tool called Price Waiter to allow their shoppers to make them an offer on whatever the items in their cart are or whatever they're looking at on the site. So they send in an email saying, hey, come back to the site and make us an offer, right? Really good way to get someone re-interested, re-engaged with your brand. Other tools like, Bill Me Later, a lot of people use. Sezzle is a cool one for Shopify and Magento that allows you to break your shoppers to break their entire payment into 4 equal installments, and you as the shop receive full payment up front. So that's a cool one to kind of remind your shoppers about. Really just good to get creative here. Scarcity and urgency, again, works just as well with browse abandonment as it does with cart abandonment. Hint at low inventory levels. Sales ending soon. Send out expiring discount codes. You see what PacSun does here. Is your size left? These items are selling fast. Take another look at the items before your size runs out. Really subtly worked in. It's not just like right up in your face, but it works. Upselling and cross-selling. So recommending complementary items. One thing you can be sure about with most of your abandoning visitors is that they at least have some sort of basic interest in the products you sell. So you can use your browse abandonment campaigns to give them a catered selection of other products they may be interested in, but didn't see. And so recommending higher priced items, this is also a good way to just upsell if they were looking at, things in the $10 to $15 range, maybe send them things in the $20 to $30 range, right? And then 3, there are tools, CartStack being one, shameless plug, that will watch your shoppers, kind of learn about their buying habits and automatically make recommendations for other products that they will be most likely to purchase. So trying this tactic in your browse campaigns could be a good way to get your shoppers interested in something else, just in case they lost interest in what they were originally looking at, by using like an AI-based recommendation engine to make product recommendations. So one thing that's important to remember, even though the ultimate goal of a browse abandonment campaign is to get the sale, a lot of the reason your shoppers are bouncing without making it to the cart is because they're simply not ready to buy. And since you don't know exactly how many of your shoppers are bouncing because they're not ready, try sending them to a blog post, success stories, testimonials, product reviews, YouTube videos. Look at this email over here. Fits frames. They say fashion's finest choose their favorite frames. Now there's a lot of alliteration going on in this email, but basically what they're doing here is they're trying to re-engage their shoppers by sending them photos of designers or influencers that they may recognize, just to see what these people that they follow and like are saying about the things that they are interested in, right? So really good way to just get people back to the site and reading and engaging with content. A few rules of thumb. Value-driven browse abandonment emails like this typically work better as a third or later follow-up to re-engage your prospects. Like once you're sure they're not ready to buy yet, And then 2, regardless of how soon you set these emails to send, be sure to A/B split test this tactic against a transactional email, just to make sure you couldn't be generating sales sooner and that you're not shooting yourself in the foot in a sense. And then with browse abandonment campaigns, you want to be much more hasty with how you send them out. Since these shoppers do have a lower intent to purchase, they're going to forget about you a lot quicker than your high intent shoppers, right? So you want to stay fresh on their mind and at the top of their inbox, really closely following the abandonment. So 20 minutes, 5 hours to a day, and 1 to 2 days is really, 3 days is really where you want to be max with the browse abandonment campaign until you start working these leads into indoctrination sequences and just trying to keep them indoctrinated. And then final rule for browse abandonment emails, don't be creepy. When there's a fresh new technology out there that allows you to remarket to your prospects in a new way, you can pretty much be sure that there's going to be some companies out there that are going to abuse it. Thanks to these companies, browse abandonment emails can get a bad rap. So it's important to reassure your customers that you're only trying to help and you're not trying to hound them until they purchase from you, right? Because just because you know every product and category page they visited doesn't mean you have to show them. And so a few bonus tips here, just to help you get a little bit, help you get the juices flowing. A few other ideas would be, one would be to use humor. Browse abandonment emails can already come off a little abrasive at times, so humor really softens it. So really try to figure out a way to work that in if you can, if it goes well with your branding. Mobile responsiveness, we all know. Over half of e-commerce sales are now done on cell phones. Your emails have to be mobile responsive. Session replays and heat maps, just review your abandoners' activity while they were on your site. Watch what people are doing. Watch how they're interacting and the things that they do before they leave your site to figure out the reasons they're leaving. These are really good tools, tons of tools out there. CartStack being one of them. We actually offer abandoned session replays. So now your segmentation. Be sure to segment your cart abandoners out of your browse abandonment campaigns. Bombarding the same customer with both cart and browse abandonment emails is a surefire way to recover very little revenue because you're just going to be annoying everyone. Split test everything. Just a list of things to split test here in your emails. Like with CartStack, you can A/B split test anything from subject line, timing, body copy, anything to figure out what resonates with your audience best. So definitely take advantage of that with whatever tool you use. And this, again, is just a list for you to go and just take things for you to try, different tactics for you to split test. And so, yeah, just a summary. One, fix the website flaws that could be hurting your initial conversion and your ability to capture emails. Because like we said, your ability to capture emails is the most important factor in a successful cart abandonment campaign. To be timely, supportive, and relevant to get your high intent customers through the checkout line. And 3, convert low intent shoppers to high intent by re-engaging them with different email tactics. And that is my half, Raul.
All right, Colton, thank you so much. Well, I mean, you covered so much during this first part that I mean, it wouldn't make sense for me that none of the listeners here, don't put this into practice and start getting more sales and recovering more customers. Still, also because most of the things that you mentioned. By the way, let me know if you can see my screen.
I'm good.
It should be live now.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, most of the things that you mentioned are common sense. I mean, when you talk about how to approach different type of customers depending on which stage of the funnel they're in, when you talk about different ways that you can ping them, it's common sense sometimes. And I feel like you gotta put yourself in your customer's perspective. And we're all obviously customers from e-commerce stores, so we've seen different tactics as users, and we probably evaluate them and we say, okay, well, this was a well executed strategy because it made me come back to this site and make a purchase. But again, I feel like everything that you said, it's all about common sense and thinking about what your customer will like to receive.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. It's funny you said that. One of my examples during the checkout flaws, that was actually a screenshot from a purchase I was actually making at the time. And I sent an email to the company and was like, hey, I work for this company. We do this. You should look into changing this. And they updated it. And I just got that email from them the other day. So yeah, I watch for these things all the time and just see them all the time. So I'm just really happy to be able to share this with everyone. I think it's really important to kind of study your shoppers' habits and watch them and understand your shoppers' behavior enough to really dial in your campaigns and maximize the amount of revenue that you can recover.
And also, it's about learning from stores that are doing very well. So you gave a great example before, which is that store. I can't remember what they sell, but on the checkout page, they had like 5 different buttons that were all identically, they're all the same color, same size, everything. And yeah, that you're asking for a distraction. You're asking for your customers to leave your checkout page because, I mean, checkouts are always a part. That and invoice emails are something that we don't like, to see or receive, because you're being reminded that you're spending money. Yeah, you're buying something for yourself, but at the same time, you're spending money, and no one likes that. So you're asking for your customers to leave your checkout page. So, and then you had the other example, which I thought it was brilliant, of Apple that had one big blue button, and that's it. That's all you need to focus on.
Yeah, Apple knows what they're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
If you ever need to figure out if you're doing something right, just go see what Apple does.
Yeah, definitely. And Nike was another great example. So yeah, I mean, always, as an e-commerce store owner, you're always on the lookout for things that your competitors or other successful e-commerce stores are doing. So I feel like that's something, taking notes while you're shopping. I think it's a great exercise. All right, so let's dive into the second part on how to make your customers think and talk about your brand. So I'm going to go back to this slide that I really like from Colton that describes a typical customer journey. So you have awareness, consideration, acquisition. Acquisition is the moment that you acquire the customer makes a purchase, and they become your customer. But what happens after that? So after that, you should have a good customer service system in place, and you should have a loyalty system in place to make sure that these customers not only leave your store with a good feeling, but they are willing to come back and they're willing to become ambassadors of your store, and they're ready to start recommending you to their friends and family. So this second part is what we're going to discuss. So Colton described several ways that you can convert visitors into customers, and we're going to convert customers into advocates. So because it's something that from conversations with e-commerce stores, I'm sure, Colton, this is something that you've probably experienced as well, with e-commerce entrepreneurs. Sometimes they focus too much on just getting more visitors and getting more traffic to their site, and they kind of forget about something that you actually said during the beginning of the webinar, which is 20% of, correct me if I'm wrong with the stat, but I think it was 20%. A 20% increase in customer loyalty can lead to up to 80% in revenue or in profit, because you're reducing most of the fixed cost that comes with acquiring new customers. Is that correct? The stat?
It's 20% of your current customer base could be responsible for up to 80% of your future sales.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So you're basically saying that, just by adding a little bit of more effort on customers that you have already acquired, so you're assuming that the most difficult part is already done. You just have to make sure that they are happy with your brand and they are willing to recommend you to their friends and family. That's an effort that can go a long way. So that's something we're going to cover. And I wanted to talk about something that I call the customer retention and referral cycle. So okay, so you have acquired a new customer. You have a new customer in your e-commerce store. You happen to have a good product, so they're happy with their purchase. They're happy with what they bought, and overall they've had a good customer experience. So even if something went wrong during the purchasing process with checkout or whatever it is, at least you have a good customer service in place that it's going to fix it, and they're going to be proactive, and they're going to make sure that your customer leaves with a good feeling, even if something went wrong in the middle. So of course you want to achieve customer satisfaction, which it's something that you really want to make sure that your customers leave your store with a good feeling, because this is a survey done by Help Scout a few years ago that says that Americans tell an average of 9 people about good experiences, but they tell 16 people about poor experiences. So we tend to basically share bad experiences that we've had with businesses and with just basically with customer service than good experiences. For some reason, we have the urge of letting people know that they can't shop at this place or they can't visit this restaurant or whatever it is. So you want to make sure that you have that your customer leaves with a good feeling and you have customer satisfaction. And if everything went well during the shopping process, you should have a referral program in place where your customers can recommend you to their friends and family. They have an incentive. Their friends have an incentive to go to your store and buy from you for the first time. Your customer acquisition cost is going to be much smaller, because you're just basically leveraging your own customer base. And then just let word of mouth do its job. Like, think about the last time that you asked your friends for a recommendation for a new restaurant or for a new city to visit, or a new country, or your next hotel for your next vacation. They were all recommending you different places, different services, different products based on their own experience and based on positive experiences. And that, I'm sure that influenced your purchasing decisions. So you need to think about that. You need to think about the fact that if you let word of mouth do its job, you're basically turning your customers into your sales force. So it's all about customer loyalty. And of course, the cycle will start again. If you let a word of mouth do its job, you will get a new customer who will go over this, purchasing experience. They will leave with a good feeling, and then they will start recommending you again to their network of family and friends. Okay, but if all of this is working, then why are your customers forgetting about you? So you are probably putting into practice everything that I mentioned in the previous slide. So you have a good product, your customers leave with a good feeling, you have a great customer service team, but why aren't your customers recommending you, or why are your customers forgetting about you? So I wanted to start with this, with 2 things that you should look at when when you're facing this problem. One of them is what we call the forgetting curve. And then the second reason of why your customers might be forgetting about you is because of an information overload. So we're going to cover these two things very quickly, and things that you can do to fix it. So let's talk about the forgetting curve. So let's say you're running a referral program on your online store. And if you ask your customers, would you be willing to refer us to your friends? Again, willing. Will you be interested, or would you be motivated to refer us to your friends and family? Their answers will likely be sure. Yeah, most of them, about 83%, will say that they're willing to refer. But if you run a referral program, or if you ask your customers to actually do it, you'll see that about 30% of them will actually do it. This is a study done by Texas Tech. And there's a big difference between what your customers say that they're going to do and what your customers actually do. So you're probably asking yourself, okay, why? Well, the main reason is that we all forget almost half of whatever we see after just 20 minutes. So this is a very visual graph, and shows perfectly what we feel every single day, and we're going to talk about information overload in a second, which is pretty much related to this. So I'm pretty sure that if we went back to the beginning of the webinar, you might not forget about the first thing that we mentioned, but that just what happens is that you have to keep reminding your customers that they're same way that Colton was explaining about the several follow-up emails after someone abandons your cart. You have to remind them in separate ways about the products they're forgetting in their cart and how they can recover them. So I wanted to mention this very quickly. It's an experiment done by a psychologist who wanted to see how fast we forget things. So he ran an experiment to test the limits of memory retention. And the results were that, yeah, we forget about 40% of any new information in just 20 minutes. And we only remember 30% of what we learned by the end of the day. So you gotta make sure that your content sticks with your customers, and that your content it's going to be different from what your customer is going to see during the rest of the day, and that the next morning when they wake up, they remember about that email that you sent them yesterday about the products they have forgotten, for example. And but why is this happening? Well, first of all, it really depends on how meaningful, complex, or memorable that information is. And how this information is presented in your head. Obviously, some personal factors might take part on what your customers, or what we all remember at the end of the day from things that we've learned during that day. But at the end of the day, what I want to the point that I want to show you is that you have to make sure that your content, it's memorable, that your customers are constantly thinking about you, or that they're keeping you somewhere in their minds, because also, well, there's an information overload nowadays. We're surrounded by content marketing, and we are too overloaded with information to take action. Another very visual graph that I really like about the information that one can consume and the information available nowadays. And so we're more than ever bombarded by marketing messages. And so it's important, I'll let you guys read this slide. So yeah, we're more than ever bombarded with marketing messages. So you need to make sure that your content is relevant to your customers, and that you stay top of mind on your customers. So we're going to talk about how you can improve your messaging to make your customers think about your brand. Well, later on, we'll talk about how you can improve your messaging to make your customers talk about your brand. But let's talk about thinking right now, how you can make your customers think about you. So this is what we call memorable messaging that I mentioned earlier. So make sure that your messages are simple. This is a really good article that I recommend you all to read. It's as you can see there, it says, "For the love of God, please tell me what your company does." This is an article I found very, very good, because there's a lot of company websites right now that are trying to give like a very kind of like high end or overview of what the company does. And when you start reading, you don't really understand what the company does. Okay, the website's it's covered by the mission statement and their vision as a company, which is great, but they tend to forget what exactly their service is and what their product is and how they are going to improve your life. So make sure that your messaging is simple and that your customers understand right away what your company does. And a great example of this is actually one of our customers, is Hupsy. And they sell products that allows you to make beer at home. So if you go on their website, right away you see exactly what they do. You first of all, you see a very clear picture. You see, you know they're related to beer. You see some sort of machine they maybe you haven't seen before. So that's already putting you into context. And then you see craft beer on tap at home. Simple as that. So now just at a first glance, you can see what Hupsy does and how you can benefit from their product or service. Another great example of this, it's Andy, which is a Canadian online store that they sell online mattresses online. So again, also very simple, a Canadian-made mattress with perfect firmness shipped to your door. Simple as that. And you just need a quick look at their website to understand exactly what they do, and to understand, what's the value for you as a customer from what Andy is selling. Another way that you can make sure that your customers are thinking about you, ways that you can keep your brand top of mind, it's using surprise. Colton gave a great example about using humor to kind of like make your customers stick with your message and keep reading at least on the emails that you're sending. So the same way, you can use humor, you can use surprise, and this is something that one of our customers, ejuices.com, they run kind of like a site-wide offer. So they were giving away a 25% discount on all their products during a few days during the summer, and they were called the Dog Days. And the reason of why I was called like that is because they were going to give 5% of the benefits to the profits to an association that was related to fostering dogs and helping dogs that didn't have a family. So, and this actually, the reason why I know this is kind of like a surprise message is because if you follow them on Facebook, you'll realize that they don't usually have this type of messaging. It's usually showcasing products or sharing content about their products and the industry that they're working in. But this kind of surprised them. A lot of the customers, and actually this is something I discussed with them directly, they were telling me that a lot of the customers wrote them back and say, this is awesome. I didn't know that you guys were into this type of issues, and you guys were also, thinking about, well, at the end of the day, making the world a little a better place. So this actually surprised their customers, and a lot of their customers were actually sending them messages to thank them for being a company like that care about things beyond their products and beyond the services that they offer. So try to surprise your customers. And also another way of making sure that your customers get to know more about you, and at the end of the day, they think about you, it's transparency. So this is also one of our customers, Perfect Keto, and they have a page on their website dedicated to the founder of the company, why this person founded the company, who this person is, what their background is, and kind of like tells you, who are the people behind of Perfect Keto. And here you can see also a picture of the team, a funny picture, some text explaining exactly why the company started, why are these people joining the company, why are they working here, because they have a reason to work here, because they're passionate about the products that we sell, because they believe in our mission statement, they believe on what the company wants to do. So given more information about who's behind your company, I think it's a great thing, especially and I've heard this from e-commerce entrepreneurs that are running small stores. Sometimes they're afraid of showing their customers that they are a small business. And so my answer to this is always, well, the worst thing that can happen is that your customers are also small businesses, for example, and what is going to happen there is that your customer is probably going to identify themselves with you. They're going to say, oh, wait, these people are also small business. I know what they're going through. I know, how hard it is to run the business they're running. You don't need to, fake that you are a different type of company than what you actually are. So transparency, I think it's always, and also gives a sense of security. We talked about security on Colton's part, and getting to know the people behind the company. If you have a team page with like pictures of the people that work at your company, I think that there's a lot of benefits that can be related to showing your customers who's the team behind your brand, and I think that can really help to also make your customers think about you. And also, kind of like on the same line as transparency is company purpose. So if you have a reason of why you're running your store, make sure that your customers understand that perfectly. So Rothy's, they're a shoe company. There's millions of shoe companies in the world, but the main reason of why they're in business is because they make these shoes from recycled water bottles. And so they have meaning for existence. They're not only selling you shoes, they're actually helping make the world a better place. They're helping the world a cleaner place. They're helping with global warming. They're helping with environmental issues. So a lot of people at some point, if you're a potential customer and you're thinking about just buying a pair of shoes, let's say that you're not even aware of the company purpose that Rothy's has. If you're looking at several websites and you get to learn more about Rothy's and why they do what they do, you're probably gonna end up buying from them because they're doing this thing that it has a deeper meaning, and your purchase is going to go a longer way. Same with Tom's, for example. The fact that for every pair of shoes that you buy from them, they're going to send a pair of shoes to kids that can't afford to have shoes. That's a great company purpose. And so if you have something like this, if there's a reason of why you're in business, even if it's your company's story, make sure that your customers can learn about it. And also another way of making your customers think about you and keeping your brand top of mind, it's using social media in a useful way. There's this thing called a mere exposure you collectively are to keep in mind. Make sure that your content often, but don't just be promotional. Try to provide useful content and try to customer into that funnel where they start learning more about you and your brand, and then from there on, don't go for the hard sale right away. Don't populate their social media accounts with discount codes and offers. Try to educate your product. Make your customers have obviously a connection with your brand and be interesting, useful, and relevant. So provide content that is useful for your customers or for potential customers or just visitors. You don't know who's going to send your article to another person that might become a customer. So try to use your social media channels as a way of educating your customers about what you do best. All right, so that was how to make your customers think about your brand. Now we're gonna talk about how you can make your customers talk about your brands, how you can incentivize word of mouth. All right, let's go back to this image that I showed before. So remember that if you ask your customers, about 80% of them will say that they're willing to refer, but just a portion of them will actually refer you to their friends. So several things that you can do to remind your customers about your referral program in this case. So let's say you have a referral program up and running, but you're not seeing many conversions. You're not seeing your customers referring their friends and family. And it might be the reason of why that's happening might be because of what we just discussed, is the fact that we are too bombarded with content marketing nowadays. We have a lot of marketing messages pointed at us. So we have to make sure that our content sticks out from the competition and that your customers remember you. So one of the things that you can do is add referral call to actions, either on your website or in your emails or even on your social media. So this is an example of a call to action on a website. So this is YouFoods, is also one of our customers, and they have a call to action at the bottom of their homepage that says get free meals or get a free product. And so, you know, when you see the word free, you're automatically more interested in learning more about whatever it is. So if you click on that, you'll see this pop-up that says refer 3 friends and get a week free of meals. This actually, I think they sell meal subscription plans. So if you refer 3 friends, you get enough meals for a week for free. So make sure that your customers, if they're interacting with your website, they're not only driven to the checkout page, but also make sure that they understand that there's a referral program in place that they can benefit from. Even more, let's say that I am not a customer of your brand, but you have a call to action to join the referral program. And let's say that, again, I'm not directly a customer of your product, but all my friends are. So I'm still someone that can make you a lot of money and generate a lot of sales because I can join your referral program, heard of before. And so think about people that can refer to their friends and family.
Hey, Raul. Hey, you there?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So minute 57. Yeah. So my computer froze for a second, I think.
Okay.
Were you able to hear me up until I stopped, or?
Started cutting out. I would start over on that last slide because you started to cut out in the beginning and then it caught up and then you started to cut out towards the end too, and then that's when it messed. So the friends with benefits one is I would start there.
Okay, cool. All right. You can see my screen, right? Can you see my screen now?
Sorry, I thought my mic was on. Yes, I can see.
Okay, cool. All right, cool.
I'm like, yes.
All right. Okay, so make sure that you remind your customers about your referral program in this case. So you might have people browsing your website that are not your potential customers. And so in that sense, you're only driving them towards your checkout page. But there might be people who are browsing your website that, even though they're not direct customers for you, they might be able to refer you to their friends and family. So let's say that you are an e-commerce store that's selling surfboards. So I'm not a surfer myself, but I have several friends who were surfers. And if you have any sort of call to action to join your referral program, I might still join it, even though I'm not your target customer, but I can introduce you to a network of potential customers for your brand. So in this case in particular, this is YouFoods. They sell subscription meal plans. And so on their homepage, if you visit their homepage, they have a call to action at the bottom of the page that says get free meals or get free products. And if you click on that, you get this pop-up here that says friends with benefit, refer 3 and get a week free. So if you refer 3 friends to YouFoods, you get a week of free meals just by doing that. So again, make sure that you remind your existing customers about your referral program. And so by adding call to actions on the website, that's one of the things that you can do to encourage these referrals. This is another customer. This is actually the customer I mentioned before, ejuices.com. If you scroll down to their bottom of the page, they have a small call to action, but still works very well for them. They have a very successful referral program on their store, and they have a link to the referral program right there. So if you're an existing customer, if you're just browsing the website, you might be interested in learning more about what the referral program is about. And if you're know someone that could be interested, you'll be more than happy to recommend it, because also if you're an existing customer, you know the brand perfectly, and you know exactly what the type of problem that they solve, and so you can pitch it perfectly to your friends and family without sounding like a salesperson. You're describing the value that you're getting from this brand. Another way of reminding your customers about your referral program is by adding a post-purchase pop-up. So sometimes we tend to forget about our customers after they go through checkout. We kind of consider that, okay, we converted this visitor into a customer, our job is done here. There's still something that you can do. So right after they finish your purchase and they get their confirmation page, they can get this pop-up that says, get rewarded and make your friends love you, give 20% off, and you get rewarded with $10 for each referral. So here, you're incentivizing your customer to do a little bit more than just the purchase, but you're actually giving them the opportunity to give something to their friends. If you read this carefully, you'll see that actually we don't talk about the reward that you get on their first at the very beginning. It's more about making your friends love you. Yeah, you get rewarded, but think about how your friends are going to feel, and you're giving your friends 20% off on your purchase, and you get something in exchange too. But think about what you can give to your family and friends. We've actually seen them some of the most successful referral programs here at ReferralCandy. They focus a lot on the perk that they're giving to their customer's friend rather than what they're giving their customer. So we've seen people giving 90% discounts and 50% discounts to their family, to the family and friends of their customers, and then just giving a small reward to the advocate. And it works because, like I mentioned earlier on the webinar, people tend to recommend things because they want to do something nice for the people they know. If you had an amazing experience at an online store, if you had an amazing experience at a restaurant, you are going to recommend that to your friends and family. So the recommendations are there. So it's all about making sure that your customers remember that they can recommend you, and that there's something that they can benefit from, both your customers and their friends. And also reminder email. So make sure that you email your customers after their purchase, remind them that they can join your referral program and they can still benefit even after they made their purchase. Another example of a referral email, we'll actually send these slides to everyone who's watching, so you can use some of this content for your future campaigns. All right, so we are at the end of this second half. So quick summary on this. So make it easy for your customers to talk about you. So make sure that your content is simple and straight to the point. Stay top of mind by providing relevant, unexpected, and informative content. So make sure that you're not only using, for example, social media to let your customers know about future deals and discounts and promo codes and all that, but also make sure that you're providing useful content that can be easily shared, and that you can basically spread the word from there. And remind your customers that yes, they made their purchase, they're gone, you can say, but no, you can make them more loyal to your brand, and remind them that there's something that they can benefit from, and there's something that their friends can also benefit from. So make sure that you remind your customers how they can benefit from your referral program. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to email both of us if you have a specific question about Colton's part. Here's his email. Mine's there as well if you have any follow-up questions. And also, yeah, I feel like we're going to share this information after the webinar. We'll send an email to everyone with the recording, the slides, and how you can reach out to us. All right, and the deals part. So Colton, maybe you want to explain a little bit more about your extended 60-day trial on CartStack, and basically what they can do to benefit from it, and what are the benefits that they can start experiencing after signing up on CartStack.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so typically, just to let everyone know, what we normally do is a 30-day free trial of CartStack, and during that trial, we give every new free trialer a $1,000 guarantee, which basically says if you sign up to use CartStack, you can use it for free no matter what until you recover $1,000. So
Oh wow.
most companies, I would say most companies that sign up recover that $1,000 in the first few weeks. I mean, it's not that's that's not even the coolest part. On average, when customers sign up, they make enough money, they recover enough sales during their first 30 days during that trial to pay for the entire next year of CartStack. Um,
Oh,
that's on average. So what we're doing for everyone today is we're going to do a 60-day trial of CartStack. So you guys will get to use CartStack free, recover as much revenue as you want for 60 days, which, like I said, will more than likely, if you wanted to continue using CartStack, would more than likely pay for the next year or two of service altogether. So that's what we're going to do for everybody today. Not to mention, I'm going to send out those ebooks for everyone. And just as a last thing, anyone that signs up today, we're gonna design all of your emails for you. We have a design team. So with your 60-day trial, you get access to our design team to design all of your campaign emails for both your cart and browse abandonment campaigns if you did want to run a campaign with CartStack.
nice. That's a great deal. I mean, because how much money do you think that they can recover from a 60-day free trial on average if
Well,
they signed up?
it depends on your traffic, the type of traffic. It depends on your volume. Honestly, it varies.
Right.
Or if you're not running a lot of sales, but I would encourage you to at least go over to our website. We have a calculator on our website where all
Oh,
we do is just ask
smart.
a couple questions. How many sales do you have per month, and what is your average order value? So if you average $30 per sale and you're doing 300 a month or 100 a month or whatever, just plug those numbers in, and it'll tell you about what kind of ROI and what kind of results you can expect from CartStack.
Oh, that's great. That's transparency, what I was mentioning before. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So if you want to get this deal, go to experts.referralcandy.com/cardstack. Again, that's experts.referralcandy.com/cardstack. We'll also add this link to the email with the webinar recording. But you can also get $50 off on ReferralCandy, which basically what it does is that extends your trial to 60 days. So we have also a 30-day free trial, and you can get your referral program up and running in a matter of minutes. So if you are a small e-commerce store and you want to start benefiting from word of mouth sales, but you don't have the time to design all the marketing collateral that comes with it, so landing pages, sign up pages, emails, etc. You can just sign up. We have an autopilot theme that basically puts everything on autopilot. So all you have to do is upload a logo and a banner, and you're literally good to go. Just set up your rewards, how much you want to give your customers, how much you want to give their friends, and that's it. And we send out the rewards for you automatically. If you want to give discounts, we distribute the discount codes to both your customers and their friends. If you want to give your customers a cash reward for every friend that they refer, we send out those PayPal transactions for you as well. It's all fully automated. There's nothing you need to worry about. Just gonna sit back and see look at your referral sales come. And if you have any questions, also we have an amazing customer support team that works 24 hours, so you can always reach out to them, and they'll make sure that your referral program it's running smoothly. So again, if you also want to sign up on ReferralCandy and get $50 off after your 30-day free trial, just go to experts.referralcandy.com/cardstack, and there you'll be able to access the replay and also these two amazing deals from CardStack and ReferralCandy.
Yeah, you know what I think it's cool because if someone were to take us up on both of these offers and set up a good cart abandonment, browse abandonment campaign, and then a good referral program, it would kind of act as like and use everything we kind of talked about today. We kind of just this machine, right? Just this cyclical machine.
Exactly.
As people refer people, they come to your site. You send them abandonment emails or reminder emails and get them to convert. Creates more. So yeah, it's just really cool. I'm excited that we got to do this today.
I mean, it just makes sense that we're offering this, because we've been basically talking about, how you can recover lost customers and how you can turn your customers into your marketing people. And so obviously it just makes sense that we're making it even easier for e-commerce owners to try this out. And again, I think it's just this automated machine. I think that's the power of it, that all of this is automated. You don't really have to worry about this. You're recovering your customers on autopilot. You are enrolling your customers in the referral program on autopilot as well. So I think it makes sense. All right. So yeah, experts.referralcandy.com /CartStack. Colton, it was great having you here today. We've all learned a lot from you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. And likewise, yeah, I love the presentation.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. See you next time.
See you guys.